tell us about your strategy.
Our strategy, let me just tell you what the strategy of the traditional parties is first. Okay, now the traditional parties, what they do is, they go around to all the constituencies and they identify people in those constituencies who they view as people who will be elected or are electable. And their assessment is based on, they are interested only in the electability of that candidate from that constituency. Now, they don't care if that candidate is dishonest, if he is a gunda, if he or she has no qualifications to be in parliament. They're not concerned about these things. They're just, their sole concern is that whoever they select will be able to win through whatever means, through buying votes, through political influence, through coercion, through contacts with the police, through stuffing boxes, whatever. They're not concerned about anything else. They're just concerned about someone being able to win. So they go around and they issue tickets to these people. The election takes place, these people win, they come into parliament, they vote in the party who's given them a ticket, and a government is formed, and then everyone starts to share the loot. Now, that's the traditional way it's been happening. We want to change that, and what we will do, what our strategy is, that for Mustaqbal Pakistan, through a certain methodology, and I'll talk about that methodology in just a minute, we want to create a brand image and use the media much as you would use tools of consumer marketing, such as advertising in the media, billboards, ads on TV, on radio. We want to use these tools to create a brand image for Mustaqbal Pakistan, which says that we are honest, we are decent, we will do things differently, we will genuinely bring about change that people want. Assuming that this strategy works, and we are reasonably confident it will, and let's assume that this brand image is created, that we successfully are able to use these tools of consumer marketing to put into the minds and hearts of most people this image of Mustaqbal as someone who can deliver. Now, when that stage is reached, when our campaign as such is complete, we will then go around to different constituencies as the election approaches and give tickets to people in those constituencies based on some very strict criteria, which is that those people have to be honest, they have to be decent, they have to be literate, because the job, you cannot have an illiterate person sitting in an assembly whose job is to draft legislation. That's basically what assemblies do. So we will have some very strict criteria on the basis of which we will choose people. And let me tell you, it's, in a population of 160 or 70 million, finding 1,200 people in the country who fit that bill cannot be difficult. I mean, it has to be possible, right? So we will find these people, we'll give them tickets. And we are not concerned about whether they're well known anywhere, but we are just concerned with their competence and capability. And once we give them a ticket, we think they will win when the election comes, not because of who they are, but because of who we are. People will know the vote these candidates will get because of the image we have created. So that people will be confident that if Mustaqbal Pakistan has chosen this person, he or she will be someone who is reliable and trusted and deserves a vote. So that's the strategy. And it's very different from what happens now, as you can see. It's something that relies, for the strategy, it's not that we are especially clever that we've come up with this strategy. It's just that circumstances at present are such that this strategy is workable now. It may not have been in the past. Even 5 or 6 years ago, perhaps it would not have been possible. And let me tell you what the factors are that will make it possible. One, of course, is this relentless spread of the media. Satellite channels are everywhere, their footprints now cover the whole country. So even in very rural mud house villages, you see people with TV screens. And so that has made, that spread of the media has done, from our point of view, two things. One, it has made people politically aware. Even illiterate people now have become much more aware of what their rights are and of what's happening and the quality of their leaders, because they see these leaders every night on television making fools of themselves. So that's one thing. The other thing is that because the media is there, because it's a commercial medium, it enables one to buy time and convey political messages. You can, just as you'd advertise surf or a Camé soap or something, you can advertise Mustaqbal Pakistan. It's a matter of delivering a message.
My question was that people have no faith left in the political process anymore. They have no interest also left, even though there's so much exposure and there's awareness and they see these politicians on media every day. People are becoming disinterested. And they have no faith left in politics or the politicians because of various reasons. How are you going to bring back or build that faith?
I think that's a good question. That's a good question, and you're right. People have lost faith completely, and there is a lot of disillusion and disappointment and pessimism about the future of the country. It won't be easy, but I don't think it's impossible. And I think one of the ways it'll happen, even things like you and me talking right now, the fact that there are people in our party who are thinking of doing things in different ways. When people see and hear us and our ideas, they will think, at least, maybe they will not trust right away because trust has been shattered in anything to do. As you pointed out, you mentioned politics and people roll their eyes. So trust has been shattered. It will take time to rebuild. And I think people will realize that eventually there has to be a political process because there is no other way to rule this country. We've tried other things, and unfortunately many times, and I'm referring to these interventions by military intervention and where democracy is suspended and so on. So nothing comes out of it. Every time it happens, we end up worse than where we started. So people will realize, people must realize, I think, that we really need to put in and develop a political system that will work time and time again. The rebuilding of trust, like I said, will come as we, that's our job, as we speak to the public, as our people come out and talk more. Right now we're just beginning, we're not very prominent on the media, but we have some really good people on board, people with some wonderful qualifications and background, and people who are sincere and decent, unlike what you will see in the traditional, people who talk sense, people when they come on the media, they will immediately impress the viewing public, or let's put it this way, the viewing public will immediately appreciate the difference between our people and the traditional politicians. So I think the trust will come. It has to. I think that's what I'd say about that.